Today we're going to fix this Range Rover's biggest problem. This is our new long-term 2017 Range Rover L405 Supercharged that we picked up for a third of its original MSRP at $40,000, and we want to turn this into a light to moderate off-roader as Range Rover intended, but we're not going to do it on these tires. Now, we bought this used Range Rover to try to find out if owning an old Range Rover is as bad as the internet will have you say. And so far, just a quick update, we put about 2,500 miles on this thing, and it's been flawless. My dad's really been daily driving this L405 Range Rover. No issues whatsoever to report. The thing is exactly as we bought it, no trouble lights, all the electronics work. Granted, it's only 2,500 miles, but he's really been enjoying it. And I have to say, for the mid $40,000 range, which is what we paid for this car, I mean, it's just such a beautiful machine. The amount of kind of quality and design on this interior is just, I mean, even by 2023 standards, incredible. It's got good climate control, it's got heated seats, ventilated seats, heated steering wheel, Apple CarPlay, so it's got most of what you'd expect out of a new Range Rover, but for a lot less money. Range Rover bakes in the terrain response system into these vehicles, which are the selectable off-road modes, the low-range transfer case, the traction control, the off-road drive assist, all these different functionalities that never get used because A, the Range Rovers are very expensive when they're new, and B, they come out of the factory with these huge wheels and really street-oriented tires. So this Range Rover we bought with these 21-inch wheels, the factory wheels, and then these just pretty run-of-the-mill Goodyear all-season tires, and they just don't perform off-road, as we're about to find out. So we're going to go into the rock crawl setting. We're going to engage the low range here on the transfer case, so we can multiply that torque, get a lot of nice control, and we're going to run it through Trench's course. The Trench's course here at the Onyx Off-Road Andre's pit area, and we're going to see how these all-season tires do. Granted, fairly worn all-season tires do on this kind of articulated course. So luckily, we do have a lot of tech to help us out here. So we're going to get nice and articulated on this first trench. There we go. Start picking up that left front tire. Maintain nice gentle throttle application. We're crawling through it. Even though these tires are bad, the traction control programming in the Range Rover is amazing, as we're finding here. But yeah, we're definitely starting to lose a little bit of traction there, even with the tire on the ground. And it's definitely having to work harder than it should to get us through this, just because there is very, very little grip at these factory all seasons. Still though, it's amazing where these will go, even though poor rubber. That nice gentle throttle application, and we made it through that loose dirt area. Very cool. And now we're going to try another challenge. So we're going to run this through the rocks course and see what the grip is like on the rocks course, and see how the four-wheel drive system and the calibration works when we're going through some larger rocky areas. Now, let's talk a little bit about this vehicle. So this is the 5-liter supercharged V8 model. You can now pick these up even, this is what, 5-6 years old, for the mid-30s to the low 50s, depending on specs, depending on mileage, depending on condition. New, I believe this particular one was about $110,000, $112,000. Actually, I think I have the window sticker on me. Huh, I do. It was, as configured, $110,586. So a real pricey vehicle. We bought it with 47,000 miles for the mid $40,000 range. So 40% of its original asking price. And that's not atypical, especially in this market that's starting to cool down now. You can pick these up for the mid-30s, and gosh, that's a lot of car for CRV money. Now, you're probably thinking, well, what about reliability? It's out of warranty. Well, that's what we're trying to figure out in this series, and we haven't put enough miles on yet to fully tell you, but so far it's been awesome. 510 horsepower, supercharged V8 in this model. 4-corner air suspension. We're in the off-road height, and we're going to try and see what the traction's like on the kind of smoother rocks as we crawl up this hill. Taking it nice and easy. Don't want to break my dad's exciting new Range Rover. Okay, it's doing okay so far. Start to feel the weight, even though these are aluminum, they are heavy vehicles. Okay, starting to feel some traction loss in the rear axle. Also really worried about curbing these 21-inch wheels. Just taking it nice and easy, really good programming out of the throttle. Take it nice and easy. Look at that. So yeah, got a little bit of wheel spin out the back there. Start to feel it chirp on the rocks. And I'm just really worried about puncturing a sidewall first and foremost. But we made it through there. With you know, surprisingly little difficulty. I was hoping for a little bit more drama, but these four-wheel drive systems are so good at compensating for even poor rubber that the drama was pretty low, which I was kind of surprised about. But we're gonna slap on some better rubber and a different wheel, talk about the advantage of going to a smaller wheel, and then we're gonna try this course again. All right, now Case and I are gonna jack this Range Rover up, and a huge thank you to RMPS Automotive Equipment for supplying this 4-post lift as well as these bridge jacks. These are gonna come in really handy today because instead of jacking up from like the side still, we're gonna jack up from the control arm so we don't have to go very high. So I'm gonna get these into position underneath the control arm, then we're gonna lower it down a little bit so we're not having to snatch a wheel and a tire. And then we'll go ahead and stick them on. We're gonna change these wheels and tires out. Oh man, I'm not gonna look good in this video, am I? There we go. Should have done this on the ground. Yeah, we got a surprise wheel and tire we're gonna show you in a second once we get this one off. Did you see the power of the Ryobi? There you have it, the old wheel and tire. Now, this is a 21-inch wheel, the factory wheel to this Range Rover, and it's rolling on a set of Eagle F1s. Now, this is a perfectly fine all-season tire. It says M+S, which you probably think, great, mud and snow, run it all year. Except this tire is not intended to be a true snow tire. It is not 3-peak snow rated, and heading into winter, this thing is probably gonna be pretty dangerous. You know, legally you could run this in Colorado on that Range Rover, even in the high country, but this is really what you want in bad weather and especially off-road. Now you may notice the wheel design is a little different. So we actually found these wheels online off of a different Range Rover. The key difference is this is a 21-inch wheel and this is a 20-inch wheel. What that allowed us to do was fit a tire with a fatter sidewall, and that is a huge advantage, not only in terms of ride quality, because of course the tire is the first source of suspension on a vehicle, but more importantly, it's very important off-road because now we've got a lot more area for deflection. We can air these down a little bit and get a little bit more sidewall. You're probably thinking, why not go to a 19 or an 18? I would love to. However, my dad went out and bought the supercharged Range Rover, which has these massive brakes, which don't fit smaller than a 20-inch wheel. So an 18 is right out. Now you could modify the brakes, put on like the V6 diesel brakes, that would be fine. But cost goes up pretty substantially there. And quite honestly, we drive that car 98% of the time on road. I want that nice big braking stopping power with that 510 horsepower. So this is as small of a wheel we could go. These were really cheap and basically perfect brand new condition, $700 used. And then let's talk about the tire. This is the Falken Wild Peak AT tire, 255/55 R20. It's just a little bit taller than the tire that we pulled off, about ½ inch taller. And look at the tread grip. So we've got these big chunky blocks to help dig into the rocks, the dirt, and also the snow and the ice. And then these little squiggly lines, these are siping to help grip into the ice when it gets really cold out. And this is not only M+S, it also has a 3-peak snow rating. So this is a true winter tire. The AT Trail is a nice balance of on-road and off-road. It's not like an RT that Falken makes where it's these huge loud blocks. Hopefully this will be pretty quiet on the road, still give us that Range Rover refinement, but help us in the dirt and in the snow. So this old Land Cruiser of ours has the Falken RT version of the Wild Peak on here, and you can really see those fat lugs. Looks great, a lot of sidewall protection, but worth noting these aren't snow rated, unlike these Falkens, the Wild Peak AT Trail. Now we still have the sidewall protection, which is great, just less of it, smaller lugs, but we have siping there, which really helps with the ice, and the compound is softer too, to give this tire that snow rating, so it should grip in cold weather. Off-road tires and wheels installed. I couldn't believe how tight these wheels fit those brakes. I mean, we're within, on the fronts especially, oh my gosh, 1/16 of an inch to the caliper, but a fit is a fit. If it was my vehicle, I might consider changing out the brakes for smaller so you can fit like a 19, because a 20-inch wheel is still too big for hardcore off-roading. But let's be honest, this is a long wheelbase luxury Range Rover, and with the stuff we're gonna do with it, I think this is gonna be a much better fit than certainly the stock wheels, and yeah, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be really good. All right, so we're going through the same course immediately. I can tell you, a lot more forward grip, but really it's the peace of mind, which is just so much better, right? Because on those old tires, I was constantly worrying about either curbing a wheel or blowing out a sidewall. But with these Falkens, you know, with the sidewall protection, I feel much better about it. Feel good, feels good, feels good. There we go. Come on, traction control. Show me what you got. Oh, I got it all bound up. There we go. Confuse the computer a little there. A little too much throttle action, I think, and it grabbed too many brakes. Now, other thing worth noting is we did install the TPMS sensors into these wheels, so we don't get any TPMS warning lights. There's a couple $100. It's definitely worth the expense, in my opinion, at least in a nicer car, because I just hate looking at aero lights. And guys, here's a real big difference, and we'll test this when we bring this thing back out to Moab and do some cooler stuff with it, is we can air these tires down. Not a ton, because we still don't have a lot of sidewall, but certainly down to maybe 25 PSI, 27 PSI. I'll feel comfortable with that. I mean, and I'm not gonna go down to 11 with a 20-inch wheel, but certainly a smaller number of the PSI is gonna help a ton. And then also worth noting too, these wheels are a little bit more tucked in, a little narrower. I personally prefer more of a pizza cutter off-road. I find that it cuts better into a lot of terrain. I know some folks prefer a wider wheel. It's kind of a wider tire, I should say. It's mostly up to preference. I'm not sure how much science has been done on that. That'd be an interesting story. So we're crawling up the rocks. Yet we're not getting that slip out of the rear end like we were on the Goodyears. Nice, consistent movement. Oh yeah, like it wasn't even there. So very impressed with this tire. So here's the deal, Falken did send us these to review, but we're gonna give you our honest and independent impressions over the next few thousand miles. We'll do a snow test with this thing, hopefully bring it out to, like I said, Utah, do some Moab terrain, and see how it performs. Guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. So it's been Tommy and Case. We'll see you on another episode. Really appreciate you watching.